Okay, this is How to Write Faster Part 3, Avoiding Distractions. Welcome to my YouTube video course on being a fiction writer. You can dip in and out of these videos at any time, watch them in order or not, according to your needs. I'd love to be in touch with you, so please comment below. Hit the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel of course, and don't miss any new videos. In this special series of short videos I am talking about one topic this time, which is writing faster. A novel is a long haul and sometimes writers give up because it just takes so much time to get from chapter 1 to the end. So in these videos I'm presenting a few tips and tricks to get you there faster. Now you may find that you work better by putting a certain time or place aside for writing your novel. A study or a home office or the corner of your bedroom, or that's where I am right now, in the corner of my bedroom, or the kitchen table. That's a traditional place for writers, especially women writers, to work. If you find somewhere special that is dedicated just to writing your novel, this will help, absolutely help, speed up the time it takes to write your novel. If you're using the kitchen table and there are other people in the kitchen, because that happens, doesn't it? They wander in and out, they're making food, making cups of tea, answering the door, whatever. You will need to clear a space before you start and try to ask people to stay out during your work times or work at night if you have to. Yeah, it's a bit weird. In that case, though, I'd advise you to ask, be very, please, housemates, please, family, don't interrupt me when I'm working. Or you can wear headphones and play loud music if you can manage that, so you can shut off their wanderings around, their conversation. And if that works for you, that it does for me, then that's very useful. The best thing, though, is to have a dedicated specific space where you write your book and where you're not going to be disturbed, and also most importantly where you're not going to be tempted to go online. Now if you're at your desk and you go online because you're working on your computer or whatever, you may be tempted to go off onto Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever, or look at YouTube. These YouTubers. And suddenly you realise you've spent half an hour replying to a friend on Facebook about their lost cat, or hunting the correct word through a Google search or online thesaurus that time you were meant to spend writing your novel. So your time is up and you haven't written a word. Or maybe you've written half what you intended, or because you went online, you were distracted. So it's very important that you write in a place that will take you away from those kind of distractions. Once I rented a beach hut because there was no Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is the sort of death to the modern writer. If only we could go back a few centuries and write longhand and, okay, maybe not. Cut and paste is still wonderful. Thank you. I forget the name of the guy who did cut and paste, but thank you. Now, these things will help you focus on your book and not be distracted by other people or distracted by the internet or your emails or whatever. And all that focus will allow you to write faster and finish your book quicker. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is leaving things unfinished, which doesn't sound very good. But when you come back to your work next day after you've finished, you come back and you're struggling sometimes to find what to write next, to find the next sentence or whatever, and it slows you up. But if you could come back and find your sentence half finished, that's going to plunge you in a much quicker way. It's not so good when it's half a paragraph, but for some reason half a sentence really works for me. So you stop halfway through a sentence, especially if it's dialogue, which is very easy, dialogue. You can always go back and change it later. It's just a get me into the work quickly thing. It forces you to produce the first few words of your writing day very quickly before you carry on. And so when we sit down to write, we're looking to get the tone right, aren't we? We have to hit the voice, the narrative voice, spot on. But reaching for the right word does tend to slow us down. So to avoid this, the sentence that you leave unfinished shouldn't be one that's going to require a lot of deep thought, because deep thought is a bit of a killer of speed. For instance, as I said, a bit of dialogue followed by ... he said, she said, whatever, and leave a blank. So when you come back the next day, you have this dialogue thing followed by blankety blank thing, staring straight up at you, and immediately you have a choice to make to continue your day's writing, which is not very demanding. You could say, she said, or she said, looking at him strangely, with a smile, or putting the laundry away. So you've written your first few words, and now after that bit you can just carry on, and that way you've moved seamlessly into your next line, into your next paragraph, into your next page. But if you forgot to leave a sentence unfinished and you find yourself staring at that screen blankly, lost for inspiration, consider putting in a bit of dialogue instead. So, okay, you're just going to stick a couple of bits of dialogue. Even if your character is on their own, they could make some kind of ironic comment to themselves. And while that won't be the most amazing piece of dialogue ever in the history of fiction, it will have had the merit of moving you on to the next line, getting your fingers typing and your brain warmed up. And better still, just write, "No," she said, because then you've introduced a note of conflict, and conflict is what keeps readers interested and reading. So alternatively, if you've reached the end of your section, you're breaking for the day, you're coming back later, make sure that the last line of your section asks a question. This can be as simple as a phone ringing. So obviously you're going to be like, who's that on the phone? She walked to the door, the phone rang. And then you break for the day, or you break the chapter. In fact, end of chapter break, you type. So make sure before you sit down again that you already know who is going to ring, be on the phone, because otherwise you will be wasting time. So make sure during your break from writing that you've decided it was Uncle Alfred on the phone. He sounded agitated. "Come quickly," he said. "She's run away again." Boom. There you have it. Ask the question, leave the sentence unfinished, stop partway through a section, open with an interesting line of dialogue, and all this will make it easier for you to hit the ground running when you restart your writing the very next day. So I hope this was useful for your writing style. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit the bell, watch all my other videos in this topic, and look up my books on Amazon. And if you found this useful, please make a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.